Hey Bobs, how was your day?
So awesome, Lolo.
Yeah, I can tell.
First, I went down to the river to look at some salmon. And then I went for a run through some really tall grass. And then I built mud castles with my friends in the backyard.
Wow, no wonder you're so beat.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about the mess in here. I promise I'll clean it up as soon as I'm finished with this.
No sweat, Bobsy. Have you checked out my feet lately?
No? What have you been up to?
Well, I was in the garden watching the worms wiggle around in the zucchini patch. Then I got distracted when a bumblebee flew by and I followed it down to its home. I think I found the hive, and you wouldn't believe what was going on there.
You know, I like to believe that coming home with really dirty, stinky feet can be a sign of a really great day.
You said it. You can learn a lot about a person by their feet. The dirtier, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
Feet, dirty feet, dirty feet, dirty feet. Summer is here and I love to run. My feet are getting dirty. Bare feet in the grass, mud, sand, and sun. My feet are getting dirty. Come on, Mom and Dad, turn on the hose. Please rinse me off and not up my nose. Put the sprinkler on, let's splash and play. I'm done being mucky at the end of the day. If you run a bath, I'll jump right on in. Wash away the grime while I soak and swim. At Bubble Fun, scrub dirty feet. It's time to get the stinker smelling sweet. It's time to get the stinker smelling sweet. Dirty feet, dirty feet, dirty feet. Stomping in the backyard, making mud pies. My feet are getting dirty. Making me a mess, that's no surprise. My feet are getting dirty. Come on, Mom and Dad, turn on the hose. Please rinse me off and not up my nose. Put the sprinkler on, let's splash and play. I'm done being mucky at the end of the day. If you run a bath, I'll jump right on in. Wash away the grime while I soak and swim. At Bubble Fun, scrub dirty feet. It's time to get the stinker smelling sweet. It's time to get the stinker smelling sweet. Dirty feet, dirty feet, dirty feet. Dirty, dirty feet. Wash that mud away. Ready for my jammies to end a busy day. Clean, clean feet. The dirt's all scrubbed away. Crawl into my bed, let my dreams take me away. Come on, Mom and Dad, turn on the hose. Please rinse me off, but not up my nose. Put the sprinkler on, let's splash and play. I'm done being mucky at the end of the day. If you run a bath, I'll jump right on in. Wash away the grime while I soak and swim. At Bubble Fun, scrub dirty feet. It's time to get the stinker smelling sweet. It's time to get the stinker smelling sweet. It's time to get those stinkers smelling sweet.